Hello everyone, and welcome to another Synth Soundset walkthrough with me, the Unfinished. Now, who's this old friend? Why, if it isn't Absynth 5, we haven't seen him for a while, and sadly I suspect we might not see him again, but here we are with him for now, and this is a soundset called Absynth Jura. It's a collection of 90 patches, which I'm releasing on Thursday the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day. Now, I'm celebrating International Women's Day by having a little sale on my site of a few select sound sets, and all the proceeds are going to go to a fabulous charity here in the UK called Women's Aid. And that's also true of Absynth Jura. All the proceeds from the sales of this brand new Absynth soundset are also going to go to Women's Aid. So that's what I'm doing, but I shall tell you a little bit more about that and also this soundset as we play through some sounds. So let's kick things off with the piano and keys section. So there's a nice blend of both the digital and the analog in this soundset. It's something very analog. And it also combines the sampling element of Absynth. So there's a really good mix of digital, analog, and also sampled instruments in here, which I think's brought together a nice collection. You get nice oddball sounds like this. Very crazy. There's a real sci-fi sound feel to this soundset, I think. Partly because a lot of the sounds contained in here were actually created for some sci-fi projects. Nice bit of drift in that one. Some fun delays on there. And this is the pad section, which probably has the most sounds in it. This is the biggest section here. And one of the things I feel that characterises these sounds is there's a lot of movement in them. And also a lot of the pad sounds sort of cross over into the soundscape territory as well, and vice versa. So they're all technically padscapes because they've got that sort of ambient spaciness, whether it's dark or light. It's sort of a darker padscape. And that's another thing about this soundset. There's some pretty beautiful sounds, but there's also some creepy dark stuff as well. Like this one. Yeah, so as I say, this is being released to celebrate International Women's Day, and the sale is going to be going on for the week after that until the 14th. And there's about a dozen sound sets are going to be on as part of that sale. And what I've also done is that I've got a bunch of female composers to write brand new demo tracks for the sound sets that are all going to be part of the sale. And also for Absynth Jura, it's just female demo composers, because I felt I hadn't got enough female composers on the roster and I wanted to involve some. So I did a shout out on a few composer places on the internet and got some really good feedback. And I've also got some fabulous sound sets from these composers, and I'm really looking forward to having some of them on board full time for the future, because it's about time I did that, and that's partly what inspired this whole International Women's Day sale, really. Oh, and there's also going to be a free sound set for Tyrrell N6. That's a strange one, isn't it? Yeah, free sound set for Tyrrell N6 called Cordero, which, if you want it, is free. But there is also going to be a name your price version, so that if you want to, for instance, if you don't have Absynth, so you can't buy Jura, or you already own some of the other sound sets that are on sale, there's going to be some Omnisphere ones, some Zebra ones, and some massive ones. You've got all that, but you still want to be part of the whole enterprise of raising some money for Women's Aid. You can name your own price for Tyrrell N6 Cordero, and again, all the proceeds from that sale will go to Women's Aid. So everyone can join in if they want to. And hopefully we'll raise loads of money and it'll be all fabulous. And everybody gets some lovely sounds as part of it as well, so, you know, nobody's a loser. And that's what we like, isn't it? It's one of my favourite patches. So as I say, this sound set has a oh, this is another one of my favourites, has a sci-fi feel. This is so cool. And so there's in some of the analog stuff, there's hints of Blade Runner, and in the digital stuff, there's sort of hints of things like Ghost in a Shell, I guess, and also I think Sunshine. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it's a sort of British indie sci-fi flick by Danny Boyle, which had a really fantastic score by Underworld and John Murphy. And if you're not familiar with it, do go check it out. It's a really sort of visceral mix of ambient electronics and sound design and all that sort of stuff. It's very much ahead of its time in some ways. I think a lot of people have turned towards that kind of music in film soundtracks now, and they were doing it... when did Sunshine come out? It must have been the early 2000s, mustn't it? I find myself strangely intrigued by the patch name Wooden Faces. That's really weird. I mean, this is a great example in the sense that it's got that sort of analog drift, but a slightly sort of digital synth vibe to it, and there's also, it feels like there might be some kind of organic sample going on in there as well. Okay, so we'll move on to the sequences and see what we've got in here. There's a handful of sequences. Some of them are what might be described as subtler than others. So this one's more of a sort of LFO modulating kind of sequence rather than the arpeggiated one. And on it goes. Again, this is one of these modulated ones. So there's ones like the previous one, Neuroscientist, which is very much got a rhythm to it. You got more ambient stuff like this. And then you got pure weirdness like this one. But if you think that's weird, you wait till the last sound we play in this run through. and onto basses. Stop double clicking. I always get confused by the fact that native instruments don't need double clicking. Might as well play all three, there's only three of them. So again, nice sort of mixture of bass end stuff and a little hint of both the digital and the analog. Right, soundscapes, lots of fun stuff in here. So this is just, all of these I'm just going to be holding down one note so you can hear what goes on. Aurelio. So already with the first two that we played through, we've got a feel that there's that light ambient side and then there's that dark sort of sound designy side. We've had Bolshevik, haven't we? That's it's got a tail on it, hasn't it? And again, as mentioned when I was going through the pads, there's the soundscapes and pads have a bit of a crossover. So this one you could play as a pad. Just as much as you could use it as a nice sort of ambient bed. So some have a lot of movement, some have just subtle movement. So you can equally play them up front or buried in the background. Entirely your decision, but I think they all work in some way that you can choose to do either, really. Dusty, lo-fi, spacey sound. That's going to, do you know, I was just about to say, oh, ignore that, that's the sound of a plane going overhead, but no, that was actually the release of that sound. Sometimes I get bamboozled by my own work. we had Stralander before, so we'll move on to Chine. Ooh. That's a very interesting release. I can play this one's a pad. So it sounds like up, down, low. Gone off in a slightly paddy direction there. Okay, and sound effects now is one of my favourite sounds. This one's just crazy. What is that all about? But it's really cool. So that gives you a taste of what Absynth Jura is about. As I say, there's 90 patches in this as opposed to the usual 128. Mainly because these sounds have been sat on my hard drive and I've been looking for the right reason to release them. And this International Women's Day sale, it has been the perfect reason to get them out there. So it's going to be a little bit cheaper than normal, which is nice. Hooray! And all the proceeds go to Women's Aid. So, you know, you get to own some wonderful sounds. You get to help a good cause. Everyone has a smile put on their mouths. Everyone has a smile put on their mouths. That sounds almost like it's done by force. What I meant to say was everyone has a smile on their faces. Yes, that sounds slightly more, well, slightly less sinister, basically. Anyway, oh no, we're about to end on a dark note where I've accidentally revealed that I'm a serial killer. Not again. Anyway, so yes, Absynth Jura, lots of lovely sort of sci-fi sounds, and take part in the sale, help me raise lots of money, and it's all going to be great. Hooray! Okay, well, you'll be able to read a bit more information on my website about which particular sound sets are involved in the sale, but as I say, there's quite a few Omnisphere ones, a couple of Zebra ones, and at least one massive one I can remember off the top of my head. So great. Thanks again for watching, and thanks for all your support. I'm going to be taking a little break until January, February, March, May to rebuild my studio more for me, get a bit more kit in and get some kit out, and hopefully sort out some of my mic and room treatment issues that have been featuring on these walkthroughs for the last couple of months since I moved into my new house. Yes, but you don't need to know all about that. All you need to do is go buy this lovely sound set and help me raise money. Thanks again for all your support, and it's been another wonderful walkthrough video. Thank you so much. Ta-ta! See you soon.